Sunday the 6th of December, I hosted a Naxxramas pickup group, abbreviated as PUC, which is basically where you gather 40 strangers together and try to make them work as a team. Naxxramas is the hardest raid in World of Warcraft Classic, and 99% of people, if not all except our raid, go there with a guild. That is people that have been raiding together for months if not years, and have practice in working together, and have had time to exclude those who are a detriment to making 40 people accomplish a task. Also, my server is Netherguard Keep in Europe, which is generally a more casual server than many others in Europe, since the two factions can't slaughter each other out there in the world. I had been going pretty hard at the game in some periods, trying to get a good geared rogue, but had also taken months away from the game not playing at all, and more or less skipped the last 40-man raid, Ankura. So I wasn't a member of any guild going into Naxxramas, and had a hard time joining one, since my weapons and gear aren't particularly good. I was hyped for Naxxramas though, a raid all the old schoolers I talked with had fond memories of, and they had been looking forward to Naxx since the start of the game a year ago. So being pretty much a lunatic, I decided that I would create a PUC for Naxx week 1 and raid lead it myself. I had never been to Naxx before, but I watched a truly hardcore player, Salf Dali, spend 15 hours or so going through all the tactics of Naxx, and I made notes while watching like I was studying for an exam. More than 2 weeks before Naxx was released, I started spamming the looking for group channel and general chat in all the big cities, saying that I was looking for members for a Naxx PUC week 1. I was happy to see a lot of interest, and I ended up having about 55 people sign up. I knew a lot of people would end up not showing up or joining a guild and going with it, or their dog would be sick or whatever, so I made a confirmation sign up just a few days before the raid. Of those 55 people, only about 18 confirmed their sign up, which made me almost want to give up on the raid there and then. But there was still a few days before the raid, so I kept advertising the raid and even whispered perhaps 500 or so people on my server, asking them if they would want to come. Some got pretty annoyed because I accidentally whispered them like 5 times over a couple of days. There were some quite negative reactions to going PUCing in Naxx week 1, with some people predicting we would just wipe every pull, and some asking if it was a joke, and also saying that over half the raid would not have done the preparations that enables you to even enter the raid. That PUC is gonna be hilarious, I was told. I was very nervous that we would not even be able to gather 40 people, but when the raid started Sunday, we had barely just managed to get 40, even recruiting the last spots 5 minutes before we started. Only 2 people or so had forgotten to prepare themselves so they were able to enter, though they were both druids, which kind of fucked us since we were only left with 1 druid. But we were 40 strangers ready inside Naxxramas. And then my worst fear for the raid happened. We fucking wiped on the very first pull. And so also, this trash is really hard and it's really easy to wipe on it. And we have to be very careful that we only pull 1. Oh, that's a double pull. Shield wall and use all your cooldowns here.
I knew that was going to happen. I knew we get a double pull and wipe. I've seen it on so many videos online of people doing it.
Yeah, it's okay. It's really hard, this trash. It was entirely my fault, because I should have practiced that pull myself and made sure I could pull 1 pack. That 2 minutes walking back to my corpse, I just felt like complete shit, and that I had failed 39 other people. But thankfully people took it really chill and nobody quit the raid, even though we had just gotten significantly weaker, having lost buffs we couldn't get back. From there on we managed to make it to the first boss without any more wipes, Anub'Rican. Generally considered one of the easiest bosses in Naxx, we ended up dying 3 times to him before finally killing him. The hard part about him is that if 1 person fucks up, 5 spiders spawn to murder the rest of the raid, and 5 more if another dies and so on. So if just a few people make a mistake, the fight pretty quickly descends into chaos and death. My relief was pretty immense when we killed him at our 4th try, since if we had kept dying to him, people might have started to give up. Run away, run away, run away! And the whole PUC and raid would be one big joke on the server. Everyone would say, "I told you so," and spam that stupid KW toxic shit emote in Discord. Killing 1 boss as a PUC would mean we wouldn't be a total joke, and people wouldn't make fun of us. Killing 2 bosses would be pretty good, and killing 3 would be really fucking good, since we would then have done better than many guilds, who were even advertising when looking for new members that they had done 2 Naxx bosses. So some pressure was off now, and now I could probably also get enough people for a new raid next Sunday, since it hadn't been a disaster. Nice guys, good job.
Kill the crocodile.
Moving on to the next boss, the trash mobs before that can be extremely hard, but we managed to kill it without any vibes. Then we were ready to try the second boss, Falina. The big thing about this fight is that you need a priest to mind control one of the worshippers in the fight, and then sacrifice it next to the boss to prevent the boss from going berserk and killing everyone. There are 4 worshippers to sacrifice, and you need to do it again and again every half minute or so. I had talked with some priests beforehand, and even made them go and practice their mind control spell to make sure they were sort of used to it. We had a rough first try, since the priest for some reason had issues with the mind control, and we were not getting the sacrifice we needed. Mind control 1 and then sacrifice it again. Go mind control and sacrifice. We need a sacrifice. Our main tank ended up dying because we got a sacrifice a few seconds too late. The boss then started slaughtering most of our damage dealers, but we still had a chance. When someone started to say, "It was not a bad try," I shouted, "Shut up!" because we still had a chance, and a new tank managed to get hold of the boss with around half of the raid dead. Keep War, shut up, keep Warhead alive. Keep him alive. A new sacrifice. Right, shield wall, shield wall. Just pop it now, pop it, shield wall. At 10% left of the boss's health, we didn't have any worshippers left to sacrifice, so we couldn't prevent the boss from going completely berserk. So we basically had to burst it down before she killed us all, which we managed to do and got it down in the first try, which was really fucking great. Nice, guys. Fucking nice. First try. Fucking nice.
I've got 81 health.
Insane. Really, really nice.
I survived with 81 health. It was fun.
We then went on to the last boss of the section, a big spider called Mexner. She can be a quite difficult fight, and many guilds ended up not defeating her their first run. Her main mechanic is that she stuns the entire raid of 40 people for 8 seconds, making us unable to do anything. Meanwhile, she still hammers away at the tank, so you gotta put on a lot of heal over time spells on the tank so he can stay alive during that time. At 30% health, the boss goes berserk, and if she then stuns the whole raid, which she does every 30 seconds or so, she can easily kill the tank and the whole raid. Our first 2 tries we wiped, having a lot of issues with small spiders that spawn, and also losing the tank while our whole raid can't move. We were nearing 3 hours, so we had about 1, maybe 2 tries left before I called it. Our next try, I assigned all the mages to deal with the spiders when they spawned, so we made sure they were dead when we would be stunned for 8 seconds. The fight was more close than you might think at first glance. Keep him alive, we need to kill him fast, ignore spiders. Just kill boss now. When the boss was at 10% health, I called out to ignore the spiders that spawned and just focus boss, since we had to kill it before she stunned us again. 0.4 seconds before she stunned us all, we killed her. If we hadn't done that, she and her spiders would have murdered us all in that 8 seconds we were stunned, and we would have wiped at 1%. Nice! Fucking nice, guys. Fucking nice. Sudden, come on, high five! So that was the entire spider wing cleared with a POC week 1. We ended up being only 39 at the last boss, since a hunter disconnected after second boss and never came back. This was definitely some of the most fun I have ever had in WoW Classic so far, and was ultimately worth all the effort in the last 2 weeks and all the worry I had assembling this POC. We are going back next Sunday, and hopefully we will do well then again. I'm going to practice the first pull over and over to make sure we won't vibe at the start. I might stream it over at Twitch/Dota, so check in there Sunday at 13:00 CET. Thanks for watching, like if you liked the video please, and consider subscribing.
If we have some mages, make a lot of food for everybody.
I don't think food was going to save us then.